This is WFTN, Fancy Turtles Now, your home for turtle excitement wherever you are. Hello everyone, this is your host for the Turtle Hour. My name is Kip Pickerson, and it is 78 degrees in the tank right now, and we've been seeing some incredible turtle action during this day. I want to go ahead and remind our viewers that if you do have small children and even small pets, you may want to take them out of the room, and you may wish to have all the up-to-the-minute turtle action available to you at any time here on the WFTN. We do wish to remind our viewers that this kind of turtle excitement can be disturbing to our younger viewers and even our smaller pets. I just have to say, in all my years of covering intense turtle action for the FTN, I haven't seen an hour like this in a very long time. Stay with us as we're expecting some more hijinks from the turtles, some skylarking, and definitely looking forward to some turtle foolery. Stay tuned. And now a word from our sponsors. Hello everyone, my name is El Viejo Toro. My channel is The Fancy Action Now. And the clickbaity, controversial title of this video is Game Crash Imminent. And a Mass Effect case study. What you have to understand with Mass Effect is the reason I say that a game crash is imminent. There's a kind of a confluence. A crash happens when not just one thing or two things happen, because people can correct one and two things, but there are multiple influences. This is why I feel a gaming crash is imminent. Because everything has gone into, this is the word I want you to remember, consolidation. Bigger and bigger corporations like Electronic Arts, and there are others, are consolidating all of these studios. They're pulling them in, they're co-opting them, they're channeling their energies into their direction, as opposed to putting out quality product. Now you got to remember, EA wants to provide a quality product in the sense that it's good enough, or it addresses a market need or the market hype. Okay, Andromeda was a budget title for EA, but it was a AAA title for the audience. That's the disconnect of that game. The big giveaway is the lack of music. Music costs money. Composers charge money. And if they have been associated with a very popular title that, again, let's say I don't even know what the numbers are, but let's just say the budget, the final budget, this is the cost expended on the game, not the budget. You can go over budget, under budget, and that the budget's a target. Okay, but let's say the final budget, which is, okay, this is what it cost us for Mass Effect 2, was $100 million. And we paid the composer $1.5 million for Mass Effect 2, or $800,000, or whatever number that you want to pick. It's probably a fairly significant amount of money. Then that composer says, okay, I did a lot of work on that. I got paid really, really well. That game did amazing. I get all this notoriety for the music of the game. People are buying the soundtrack. I'm getting royalty from that. Now here comes Mass Effect 3. It's time for contract renewal. Or I've been optioned for Mass Effect 3. That's fine. You know what? I get a bonus. I get residual. But if there's going to be a Mass Effect 4, well, I'm not satisfied with this deal because I brought a lot of profitability to this game. I have a lot of notoriety, etc. I'm going to leverage all that equity for a better deal. So this time, you want Mass Effect 4, I want a 3-game deal, and I want $5 million per game. And that's how the negotiation goes, okay? This stuff goes on. The same thing with the film industry, okay? And now games are just getting into the level of film, okay? Where that you have to pay these talented people, okay? EA made a decision after 5 years, which is suspicious to me, because what that says to me is they've been in negotiation, they've been waiting for people to get off other projects, they've been kind of farming this, and finally they just made the decision and said, or they made the decision beforehand and just didn't know what to do with it and just kicked it around for a while. And they went back and forth with Bioware to say, no, we want to continue the story. And how can we do this, or we can do that, and we can do that. So they went through negotiations for a few years, for at least a couple, I think. And they did a cost-benefit analysis, and they said, you know what? If we get all these people back, we're going to spend $150 million on this game. And, hopefully we'll make $200 million. But if we start fresh, with fresh new voice actors, with fresh designers, they gave it to their C team, they gave it to their weakest team, which also means lowest cost. They gave it to their lowest cost team and let them run with it. And you can tell they didn't spend the money. They didn't spend the money on quality control. They didn't spend the money on composition, musical composition. They didn't spend the money on it. They didn't spend the money on the writing. They know that writing's not that good. They don't care. It's like they really focused, just like they did with Dead Space. They focused on the multiplayer and the combat, okay? They're turning it into like Call of Duty in space. And that's a budget move. Honestly, with all the bugs and all the bad news and all the glitches and the hate and all the rest of it, they're still happy about it dollars wise, because they'll play catch up and they'll do patches, and the one patch was good. They were ready with that patch like 2 weeks. They're just like, look, we have a schedule, you're gonna hit it, we're gonna get that money, we only spent $50 million on this thing. Okay, $50 million for a AAA title is a minuscule budget. It is short shrift. They gave Mass Effect Andromeda short shrift, but they knew they were going to cash in on all that equity, and it's money now. Corporations are interested in cash flow. Okay. Is it playable? Yeah, it's playable. Launch it. We'll do the patch, but we're going to get all that money. Same thing with No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was a glorified mobile game. Just on a bigger scale. It's a mobile game. It's mine the resources, build the thing, go here, mine the resources.
It's mine the resources, build the thing, go here, mine the resources.
It's mine the resources, build the thing, go here, resources.
There are mobile games with way more depth than No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was a mobile game on a larger platform. That's all it is. That's all it ever was. And they knew what they were doing. They knew it was a cash grab. But that's why there was all the hype. So fanboys and overexcited sci-fi lovers are out there dropping their 80, 60 limited edition money, boom, on that thing as soon as it hit. And they, when everybody figured out, whoa, this is like 486 technology, just painted better. Again, they say procedurally generated. Okay? The same phrase used differently in Mass Effect. Oh, well, we used an algorithm for the face modeling. That's because face modeling costs money. Having an algorithm do it for you is far cheaper than bringing people in, sticking little balls on their face, going through the dialogue, having it match sync perfectly, and redoing the retakes, and syncing it up, and all the rest of it. Everything that goes into that is expensive. It's user intensive. You have to have the technicians doing it. You have to have the actor or the face modeler there, and you got to pay them. That's expensive. That's why the face models look dumb, and because they used a cheaper method. They used an algorithmic method that imitates human facial expressions and does a mediocre to poor job of it because the technology's not there. I mean, that's it. It was everything you look at in Andromeda. The quality control, the facial models, the lack of music, the lack of decent writing. They hired cheap writers. They let amateurs tinker with the story. Truly they did. It is a low rent Mass Effect. That's exactly what they were going for. It's not a AAA title. People think it's a AAA title. It's not. It's a B. It's a B title. Is it terrible? No. Is it shiny? Yeah. Is the writing bad? Yes. Is the music almost non-existent? Yes. Is it repetitive? Yes. Again, repetition is a sign, it's a budget tactic. Like in Skyrim, they had the budget. Bethesda used the budget to craft every single dungeon instead of having them procedurally generated, which is a good way of saying it's randomized, we let the machine do it, it's cheap, it's repetitive, and there you go. We try to make up for it in other areas or whatever it is. They gave Mass Effect Andromeda as low a shrift as they can. Is it garbage? No, absolutely not. It's not garbage. Okay? It is as cheap as they could get it out the door. There wasn't a passion for the series. There wasn't a passion for the lore. There wasn't a passion for the quality of the game. What can we put together for $50 million that we could hype and get out there and rake in 150 million or whatever it is? I don't know what the total final sales of Andromeda are, or I don't know what they are at this moment. I guarantee they made their money back in a hefty profit. Because you have these giant monoliths that have to really cheat the customer and do things like they did on Mass Effect. Instead of being a patron of quality experiences, the corporate mindset is dominant over Bioware. Again, EA is the dominant one and says, we care about profitability, not about quality control. Not about, again, if they buy it, they spend their money and we have their money and we can put that in our quarter or end of year or whatever it is. Yeah, do it, launch it. So they go down there and they make the final call. They just said, oh, the quality's not good enough. Ship it. So again, if it's Bioware running things, hopefully to their credit, hopefully this is the way they would think about it. First of all, it wouldn't have taken them 5 years, I don't think. I think EA was kind of holding that back, and again, you don't know what negotiations were going on. So if Bioware's in charge back in the day, they would have focused on the quality, but they'd still been kicked in the butt by whoever wanted to publish it. Because again, you got to publish to make, for the publisher, they have to publish to make money. So it's like every time they hear a delay, that's delaying their profitability. So they're like, well, how bad is it? You know, that's the question they're going to ask. How bad is it? This is the key, okay? It took me a long time, but this is the key. The key is the perception of the customer versus what's okay to the publisher and or the corporation. Those used to be closer, and they're getting like this. And if you think of it, it's kind of like stacking like Jenga, you know. You know, it's like the more you stretch that perception, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. And when you're out here, it's going to crash. So what I think is you're going to see an exodus from, and I can tell this by my own self, where, you know, I'm like, I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. I'm not touching that game. I know what it is. I'm not touching it. If they decide to go back to their roots, get some of the people back. A lot of people left. Do you know why a lot of people left BioWare? Maybe it's the political elements that were going on inside the company or whatever it is. Or maybe it's just they're not going to pay them anymore. They're like, yeah, well, you know, the game's finished. We gave it to the Montreal studio. We know you were part of the trilogy, but you're making like $250,000 a year, and we're paying a guy over here doing your job $57,000. Do you want a demotion, or you know, these people are just going to leave? And then they're not going to deal with the political crap. Sometimes I think the political crap, and I've seen this borne out in companies, is to get rid of people. They just quit. It's just like, hey man, I'm not putting up with it. They just make your life hell until you're just like, okay, I got the message. Bye-bye. And off you go. And these talented people will find work in other places. They do have the pedigree and the skills, etc. But the people that originally had the passion in BioWare, I think some of them are still there. A lot of them are gone. So now you have, again, the Dead Space effect, where you had this core survival, tension, thriller gameplay, and now you're another first-person shooter in space. What is it? I'm anxious to see, because I'm very impressed with Dead Space. I was very impressed with Mass Effect. These are two game series that I really enjoy, and both of them are published by EA. So EA knows how to give a studio their head and let them create and facilitate that. They also know how to pull in the property, get rid of all the overpaid people, wait for the contracts to be over, and then cash in on a game that had a third of the budget or half of the budget. I mean, honestly, Mass Effect Andromeda should have had at least a $100 million budget. At least. You know, but you got a $50 million game. And man, you know, did they make a profit on? They've already made a profit on that. Did they make a profit on No Man's Sky? That was a complete jip. Huge profit on No Man's Sky. But the consumer has been burned a couple of times now by EA. You can only do it so much, and then people like me begin to pull away from your properties, your IP, your brand, and we begin to say, well, you're not getting any upfront money out of me for sure. And then I'm really going to scrutinize your games. I'm really going to do the investigation before I spend the money. And if I smell BSery, then see, that's what I sense with Andromeda is, and I just was like, not going to play. They charged you AAA money for a $29.99 game. Really did. Same with No Man's Sky. $60. What were those collector's editions for Mass Effect Andromeda that did not include the game? I think one of them was like $250 or something like that, with no game. I can tell it is the it has gotten, both their collector's editions, no game. It has gotten so far down the road with the profiteering. I like microtransactions to continue the game for like additional DLC and that kind of thing, or, you know, I don't object to it necessarily, but it's gone too far. The profiteering has gone too far. And when the profiteering goes too far, it's like corruption. When the corruption goes too far, that's when the crash happens. That's when people begin to withdraw from the market. They vote with their dollar, and boom, these companies can't operate without that constant flow of revenue. They implode on themselves, and they have to reorganize or leave the market. And I think we're there. I think we're getting there. So I'm not getting these incomplete games. I'm not spending my money like that. I'll buy them aftermarket if they exist in physical media. But again, that's the thing, is that that's a safety valve. What I would remind companies like EA is, if you get rid of physical media entirely, people are going to be more reluctant because they don't have anything tangible to give or to save or to resell, or, you know, just be careful with that. Be careful with that. There's a flip side to that benefit analysis. So this is El Viejo Toro of Fancy Action Now. Keep gaming. Vote with your dollar. Peace out.
Let's say I don't even know what the numbers are. Let's say I don't even know what the numbers are.
What you say?
Let's say I don't even know what the numbers are. Okay. Is it playable? Yeah, it's playable. Okay.
Is it playable? Yeah, it's playable.